Hurricane season isn't over yet, as we just discussed with meteorologist Lee Spann. Well, we gathered our panel of experts to discuss what you should do before and after the storm. Joining us now are Scott Bedell from Master Restoration and Dick Tutwiler, founder and CEO of Tutwiler and Associates. Gentlemen, good to have you both here.
Thank you for having us.
Let's talk about some of the common questions that you both got after Hurricane Irma last year. Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, the common questions that we got, a lot of it had to deal with what are my insurance premiums, and is this going to be covered under our homeowners policy? You know, what's the difference between rising waters versus wind transferred waters into a home?
Okay.
And you know, a lot of people don't realize that there is a difference between your standard deductible versus your hurricane deductible. So anytime you have a cat storm that once there's a named storm and it touches down, we're now into the process of a hurricane deductible, and there's insurance companies that will write a 2%, 5%, or 10%. So if you have a $300,000 home, you're no longer a $1,500 deductible. You could be a $30,000 deductible.
Interesting. Dick, is this something that, what were some of the questions you were hearing?
Well, I agree with that. And it's a huge deal because people don't understand what the scope of the damages are, what their policy covers, and what their deductible is. And what we found and saw in Irma was that it wasn't necessarily what you saw the next day. It's what you saw a week, 2 weeks, or a month later when damages started showing up, and people were often reluctant to notify their insurance company because maybe the deductible wasn't there or they just didn't know. So the after effects, and when they start seeing the manifestation of damages, you know, there's an awakening happens and people say, what do I do?
How quickly should both of you be called after a storm goes through?
You want to take that, Dick?
Yeah.
Well, he plays a very important role. You know, the construction industry or restoration industry, which I think you're more in tune to, because that's an immediate need. I mean, people need to do things to preserve and mitigate the damages. And my only caveat is that you need to check and make sure that you're dealing with honest, reputable people. Yes. I asked him earlier about whether their firm uses something called an AOB, and I'm not going to go into a great length of discussion about that, but most of us in the industry frown on that. And it's been before the legislature many times, and they just can't seem to turn the corner on that. And a lot of construction companies use it, which basically means that you assign your policy benefits over to some construction company who you may have never heard from or know anything about. And once you've done that, you know, you're on a very slippery slope. As to my job comes in, you know, when the emergency people on the site say, okay, the area's clear, now you can begin to assess the damages and figure out the path forward. So we're kind of working together in many ways. He plays a very important, vital role, and we talked about this earlier. A lot of property management companies have pre-approved people like his firm, and I wholeheartedly support that, because the last thing you want to do is have some operator from someplace that, you know, you don't know anything about, and they get you to sign a piece of paper and you're stuck.
Right. Okay. And we were lucky enough to be bypassed by Hurricane Michael, but what should people do if they have any kind of storm damage at all? What's the first thing they should have to do?
Yeah, so like Dick was saying, is they need to, if they can, already have a pre-authorization or pre-approval so they can know and understand what's about to happen. And we're in the emergency service business, so we're open 24/7. So at 2 a.m., they're going to be calling one of our technicians to be able to immediately respond. Because like Dick said, people will hesitate, and they're responsible. They have a fiduciary responsibility to the insurance company for a first notice of loss. And if they don't let them know and actually get mitigation services out there within a certain period of time, they will default on their ability to go through the insurance process.
Okay.
Way we bridge that gap is a lot of times people are concerned, are we going to spend too much money, or are we going to spend money at all? I don't know what's going on. We'll go out there and set up courtesy equipment so we can mitigate it, create any secondary losses from happening, and then find out what their insurance policy is, have them follow up with their agency and work them through the process. And there's no cost to them if they go outside of what the insurance company covers.
Okay, great advice from both of you. Thank you, Scott and Dick. For more property claim advice, you can visit publicadjuster.com/claim tips or call 800-321-4488. You can also call Master Restoration's emergency service hotline anytime at 727-433-1474. And you can also visit their website at masterrestorationservices.com. Gentlemen, thank you both very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We'll be right back.